Since the 1950s, the number of people diagnosed with celiac disease, a true allergy to gluten, has skyrocketed. In addition, the number of people experiencing gluten sensitivity, a much more common condition where they experience abdominal discomfort, bloating because of gluten, has also skyrocketed in the Western world and in those parts of the world where consumption of a Western-style diet has increased. In addition, the incidence of other food-related allergies and autoimmune diseases, such as type 1 diabetes and multiple sclerosis, have skyrocketed in these same areas. There is a lucrative food industry now around gluten-free products, and unfortunately, most of them are still highly processed. But the gluten may not really be to blame for your gluten sensitivity. And running away from foods to avoid gluten can lead to the overconsumption of processed foods, meat, and dairy. Let's look at several key points in this epidemic. First, wheat has been grown and consumed for 10,000 years. There are several different varieties of wheat used throughout the world. Some are good for breads, while others are better for pastas. As of 2015, there is no GMO wheat grown in the world. So wheat that is grown now is not appreciably different genetically from wheat grown in the 1950s or 1850s for that matter. The main difference is the pesticide and herbicide exposure, and this may be one reason to stick to organic wheat. The more refined the wheat, the higher the concentration of gluten. So 100% whole wheat has less gluten concentration than refined all-purpose flour. This means that a cup of 100% whole wheat flour has less gluten in it than a cup of all-purpose flour. Since the 1950s, with industrial food production, the consumption of 100% whole wheat or any whole grain has fallen dramatically. Instead, most people are consuming large amounts of nutritionally inferior, highly refined white flour. Humans have developed a close relationship with the bugs in their gut. The healthy, good gut bugs that should be in our guts help us to digest plant fibers, help us extract certain vitamins, and keep us from developing food allergies. A lot of research is now focused on just how important these bugs are to our nutritional health as well as our immune status. The more processed our food, the less fiber in it. The more chemicals and preservatives in it. The more meat and dairy in our diets, the fewer good gut bugs we have. When our good gut bugs are depleted, or if they've never really established themselves from the get-go because of early frequent exposure to antibiotics and chemicals, then we will face difficulty eating real food. Ever wonder why so many different culinary traditions have fermented foods in their diets? Things like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, miso, tempeh, soy sauce, and even wine. These foods provided a source of good gut bugs, and these good gut bugs tend to be strict vegetarians. Too much fat, too many chemicals, too many antibiotics, not enough fiber, all of these kill our good gut bugs. Since the 1950s, processed foods have skyrocketed. The use of antibiotics has skyrocketed, and the amount of natural plant fiber consumption is extraordinarily low in the average American diet. The amounts of meat and dairy consumption is mind-boggling, and Americans are consuming 4 times more cheese now than they did in the 50s. We also consume staggering amounts of refined oils and sugars. If you are experiencing gluten intolerance, then I suggest you try the following. Adopt a whole grain, low oil, plant-based diet, meaning no meat, no dairy, and increase your consumption of a soy or almond milk yogurt, miso, fermented tofu, cabbage, etc. After 6 weeks, slowly introduce small amounts of 100% whole wheat into your diet and see if you can tolerate it better.